Welcome to another action-packed episode of Impact Wrestling. Now before we get started, I have to address something because of what happened last week. I did not do my AEW review. I was not myself. I don't like making excuses, and what I'm about to say is not an excuse. I really wasn't in a very good frame of mind. My anxiety was messing with me. But I'm not the type of person that's going to use another excuse saying, hey, this was going on or that is going on. I'm just going to say how it is. I just wasn't myself. I know you guys don't care, but I truly care about making good content and being honest about it. So there you go. Whether you care about that or not, I understand. It doesn't really matter. You're here to get a review of Impact. But I had to address that. So what did we get in this Impact Wrestling? What we got in this episode of Impact was very interesting and quite sad. If you haven't seen the title of this video, because I believe I got the title for it, it's sad. But it was interesting to see how far they've gone in the development of many different storylines. Let's open with one of the two first round matches for the Impact Heavyweight Championship #1 contender match. Ace Austin versus Rhino. Now, here's the thing. The match was not that bad. Rhino didn't look bad. Ace did carry the match, and Ace won the match. Ace also had a good video package afterward. Well, he had a little segment saying that people that came before, I don't know why they're caring about it, like TNA, who cares about it? I am the future. I am the one that's going to win this. I am the one you should be focusing on. Wasn't bad. The match wasn't 100% bad. Rhino didn't look bad. But here's the thing. No audience. And I know many people out there have been talking about this. I know JD's talked about it. I know the Lex Man talked about it. I know that the Wrestling Inc. podcast has talked about it. The Slick Daddy really hasn't really mentioned a lot about it. He's really looking at the substance of wrestling more than he's looking at no audience. But I'm saying it in disrespect. We're in a situation that makes it very difficult to do anything, to make it feel important, to make it feel genuine. And one way to do it is to have some kind of audience. And I say this again, and this is the truth. AEW is the only one that's getting it right. They must have some kind of audience. So wrestlers being audience is the best, true, and only option you can have, where many people are still very uncomfortable about being in large crowds. It is the only way you're going to make the show feel more genuine. And in this respect, the opening match didn't feel genuine. It didn't feel important. Like the ending of the show with the last match, which I'll talk about. It just doesn't feel like it's credible enough. Because there's just no one there to give the wrestlers to some. It doesn't matter if they're fellow wrestlers or if they're real fans or stagehands or production, or people in production, people in doing clothing like sewing, people who set up the ring. You need someone to feed off of, and there's just nothing there. And this show came down about 3 notches again because there's no fans or no wrestlers, or no stagehands, or no ring, people who set up the ring or camera. It just doesn't feel right. Now, we have had a couple of vignettes for Kiera Hogan. They've been the same one repeated a few times already. We've seen Tasha Steele, who I loved her on AEW. Not AEW, NWA. I guess because I miss AEW, I feel kind of awkward about it. I don't like missing stuff, so if I make that same mistake again, I'm sorry. I liked her in NWA more. I think she would have been better over there, but she didn't stay long enough, and due to the fact of the situation with the pandemic, she left. But when you see Kiera, you see Tasha Steele. You now have Kiera Hogan taking the place of a Madison Rayne as someone that's supposed to be able to teach somebody the ropes of Impact Wrestling. Now, I've said this before, that Kira has to have her own storyline. She has to be going for the main title. It is necessary for her to eventually get it. Now, I remember Andre leaving a comment saying you can't have too many of the same person in every single tapings. It'll look bad. And I agree. But I'm putting it in disrespect. We need for Kira Hogan to eventually have a title run. We need her, if she can't have a title run, to have her own storyline. If she doesn't have either one, eventually, it could be 6 months from now, but eventually she either needs a title run or a real storyline that just focuses on her. If she doesn't have it, she must leave the company and just go somewhere else to try and get something she deserves. Yes, she's young. Yes, she hasn't had that many years in the business. I understand that. But with such a small amount of people in Impact, you've already gone through the same people multiple times. She's the only one who hasn't held a title, and she's the only one that's never really had a real storyline just for her. So it makes perfect sense to give it to her. So what do we got here? We got her acting like Madison Rayne. Now, that does not mean this is a storyline for her. This is more to help Tasha Steele to begin to build into Impact and the Knockouts. So I just don't see it as a real storyline for her. It's just her being paired up with somebody so she can help her get over, and they'll work on some type of storyline where eventually they may go up against one another. That's what I think is going to happen. That doesn't mean it's a story. It doesn't lead to a title. So I'm still saying it. If she does not have a storyline, that's just for her. If she doesn't have a title run, she just needs to leave. That's the way it is. We had Crazy Steve go up against... I'll give it like this. When I saw Joseph P. Ryan at the ramp watching the match, and we get Dave Chris in the match, I didn't expect Crazy Steve in his real first match to job. And I was right. I don't know where they're going to go with Joey Ryan dealing with Crazy Steve. I don't know if they're going to be fighting against one another or he's going to try and convert him. I don't know. It could be either way, but I do believe that Joey Ryan's going to try and convert Crazy Steve. And if he can't, he's going to fight with him. But when you see a Madman Fulton get so pissed off that again, one of the Chris lose, he gets sick of them both, and now he has broken away from them. I'm definitely sure many people are going to say, you see, it's time. He's going to be into the main title scene. He's going to be pushed. He's going to be no. No. The only way I see him in the main title scene is that he doesn't have a feud with Jake and Dave Chris. Because this is what it's going to come down to, folks. If I'm right, and I believe I might be. You got Dave Chris, Jake Chris, and Madman Fulton doing absolutely nothing because they're not doing anything with Sami Callihan. They're not going to team them all up again. They're not going to have them together, so they're going to decide to break off Madman Fulton to now feud with Dave and Jake Chris. I could still be wrong. Maybe they are going to push him into the main title scene. Hopefully they will do something with him. But what I see is not a main title scene push. What I see is not a tag team for him. It's what I see is just the Chris against Madman Fulton, which could still lead nowhere because they did similar things with I hate to compare Madman Fulton to a Killer Cross, but I got to because they're both big guys. They both had many storylines which was evolving around other people. And when they were finally left alone on their own devices, they never got anywhere. They were just in filler and eventually led nowhere. So I'm hoping they will with him, but I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to hold my breath. Now, here's something I was interested about. We see Rosemary. We see the Jonna Bravo there in my face. you now see that Rosemary has begun to get a little smitten with a Johnny Bravo because she has no Taya to mess with. She has nothing to do. So with the tarot cards telling her that, it's a good possibility that this is the guy she's been waiting for. This is the guy she should be messing with. She now grabs the dog again, the stuffed dog that the Johnny Bravo holds close to his heart because it from Taya. He refuses to let Taya go even though he's been treated like garbage by her. He is now in the eyes of a Rosemary who blew a kiss at him after he left. She's smitten. Now here's the question. Where are they going to go with this? Are they going to have a Rosemary in the ring and the Johnny Bravo as her manager? I truly believe that's where it's going to end up. That's where I think it's going. And eventually there's going to be a feud between... This is how it's going to get. I think this is where it's going. You're going to have Rosemary versus Taya Valkyrie for Johnny Bravo. Because Taya has control over Johnny. It's not that she loves the guy. It's just that she likes to have a menial, a man Friday to do whatever she wants. And then you got Rosemary, who now has begun to become smitten with him, and she's going to do everything she can to keep him. It could lead down that way. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it looks like it might happen whenever Taya returns because of the situation. That's if it goes there. If it does, at least it'll be something different. I'm just saying. XXXL versus Falaba and TJP. Was this a good match? Yes. Was it interesting to see that Falaba was the most agile of the three big guys? Hell yeah. Seeing Falaba, the man has worked hard to get lighter, to be more agile, and he shows it. He's shining. But here's the problem. There's no titles. Because the North is still locked up in Canada, can't really do any matches with the North. It hurts to see that the North is locked up. And I will talk about that in a minute with Cody Deaner. But it hurts to see that they should have had the titles already. Or they should have been offered the titles. At least a chance. And that's TJP and Falaba. It just hurts to see this. It just does. They won, but it doesn't really mean anything. It's not a number one contendership. It's not like they have any other team to work with other than XXXL. I'm not even sure that Reno Scum is even available. And it shouldn't be Reno Scum. It should be somebody else. And yeah, you may have the Rascals, but that means you're going to have XXXL. The Rascals and Falaba and TJ Perkins. Not even talking about Reno Scum. That's it. I'm just saying. Now, we had the rematch between Suicide and Moose. Now, Moose did have an interview again. Well, it looks like a continuation from the interview. This is what happened when you do them in blocks. Because it was obvious that you had another interview just right after that interview. Because that's how they had to record. It would have been better if Josh had changed his shirt or something. Because he really looked like it was the same day. Within the same hour, he just did one interview after another with Moose. And it just feels... It doesn't feel spontaneous. But at least Moose did give a good showing saying, look, I am not afraid to wrestle anybody. I am a champion. And you're getting on my damn nerves, Josh. You better be glad that I'm not going to hammer you through the wall. Technically speaking, that's what he was saying. But essentially, I would have liked, and this is what I still want, someone from the back. I don't care if it's Don Collis. I don't care if it's Scott DeMont. It doesn't matter who. You need to have one of those guys come out and just confront Moose and say, Moose, this must stop. You do not have right to this title. It is a inactive or dead title. It means nothing. And no matter how many times you want to say that you have defended it, it means nothing. But because you have won every time you've gone up against somebody, we'll give you a break. This is what we'll give you. If you do one match, technically with the person that we choose, or I choose, then I will either reactivate the title as a mid-card title, or I'll let you just keep doing what you want. That's what we need. Hearing Josh Matthews is not enough. Now, what did we get with the match between him and Suicide? It was an okay match. In the end, Moose managed to win by a roll-up and pulling up the Suicide's, suit. He gets to keep the title, which I wasn't surprised. But they need to address this. They need someone to come and just confront him. That is management, because this is just not enough. They need to make this title legitimate. Now, mainly, this is what I want to say, because after you hear this, some may say, oh, look, they may be doing this in the next set of tapings. And they may. I'm just saying, I'm hoping they will do this and eventually address it. Well, we got an interesting thing here. We got a Chris Bay sighting. Again, I know I didn't say it last week, when he confronted Johnny Swinger, trying to coerce him, trying to finesse him, since he is the finesser. I still want him as this. Dude, he needs to be the smooth criminal, because he will steal everything from you. He will steal your woman. He will steal your wins. He will steal the money out of your pocket. He is smooth. Smooth. That is Chris Bay. He knows how to manipulate you. And he manipulated Johnny Swinger into finally having a match against Moose. Not Moose. Sorry. I guess I have the Moose on the brain. When it comes to Willie Mack and him wanting to manipulate Swinger to mess with Willie so he can try and get at that exhibition title, was a good move. Was it a good match? It was okay. It wasn't about the match quality. This was about making it look good. So when Willie wins, you got Chris Bay coming out after he gets chop blocked by the Swinger and he beats the living hell out of him. You see him in my face. He is wailing on his ass. And in the end, Swinger validates him, which is a great thing. Now, I know a lot of people will say, dude, this is not right. Chris Bay should not be going after the exhibition title right now. It's too soon. But I'm afraid you're going to have to go there because of what's going on. They need people that are close by that can work these types of situations. And Chris is probably close by. He probably doesn't live too far away where they were taping, because these were taped quite a while ago. And it makes sense that if they don't have the people they need, because many of them are in different parts of the country and they can't come back, this is the best option. So we're going to see a program between Willie and Chris, even if it may be a little too soon and the story is not that well written. Now, Chris is going to be able to make it sound good. So I'm all right with it. But still, I'm not happy that this is being rushed. But it makes sense that they got no option for Willie to work with him, because they need something for him to do. They can't just let him just do random matches. They need some type of story. Now, we got two things left. We got Cody Deaner, we got Josh Alexander, and we got the wonderful Ethan Page. And he pretty much says, don't worry, we're not going to do any more matches. We're done. And Josh pretty much said, I'm sick of this. I don't want to do matches. And like I said, we're done. We're not doing it. And we got Wheelie, the ref who doesn't have legs. Cool guy. He's there and he's expecting there to be, well, one, that's the place where he usually goes to relax. But two, and he's kind of wondering, are you guys going to do something? He says, no, we're done. And then Cody comes in and he says, you do have one more group you can go through. That's me and Wheelies. And Josh and Ethan think it's going to be the ref. And he says, really? You and Wheelie. Wheels. Not Wheelie. Wheels. He said, yeah, me and Wheels. He says, okay, all right, we'll shake on it. No problem. And they shake on it. He says, it's going to be in the Diener compound, though. And he says, fine, no problem. We'll be there. So Wheelies thinks It's him, but he says, no, 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 no. No, it's not you. You actually think I don't have a big family? There is another wheelie. So the question is going to be, who is it? Will it be somebody from WWE? Which I don't think it will be. It'll probably be someone from maybe ROH. Might be. Because counting on when these recordings were done is going to be the question. If the recordings were done when several people had already been released and could do whatever they want, it could be one of them. But I don't know. Finally, Sami versus Elgin. The other final first round match for the number one contendership. A great match. I'm not going to say anything bad. Sami sold his ankle very well. It was a good match. But I'm going to be honest here. I thought when I first saw this match, Elgin has to win. But then I'm thinking, wait a minute. If Elgin wins, what happens to Sami? Where is he going to have a redemption? If he loses, after what just happened with Ken Shamrock, where he passed out, what are they doing with him? So I'm thinking, wait a minute. This has to be a redemption thing for Sami. Even though I'm thinking they got to do something with Michael. He has to win. But then you're thinking Sami has to win because they need to do something with him. Because what have they done with Sami Callihan in ICU? Nothing. What have they done with Sami going against OVE? Nothing. What have he done going against Tessa Blanchard? Nothing. He has not gotten revenge on anyone in OVE. He's not gotten revenge on Eddie Edwards. He can't do anything right now with Rich Swann. He's still out because of he broken bone. So he's out. And he can't do anything with Tessa. So what exactly are they doing? Nothing. So he had to actually win this to move forward. But then so does Elgin. So my thought was, who is the more important here? Is it going to be Elgin to be able to keep going? Or is it going to be Sami? So my thought was it had to be Sami. And you already know what happened. Sami lost. Sami's redemption is over. When it comes down to it, if anyone thinks they're doing anything with Sami, they're doing nothing. Before this pandemic, I said they had to do something with Sami. Before the pandemic happened, before it reached the point where they had to start shutting down the country, they weren't doing anything with Sami. He'd already come back. He already was ICU. And instead of destroying OVE, because they weren't doing anything there anyway, he should have destroyed them, gone through Eddie. If he had to go through Elgin, go through Elgin, and then go after Tessa. No. He goes after Shamrock before they shut everything down. So if anyone says, well, it's because of the pandemic, no. The recordings that were done was well before the pandemic got bad. So when it comes down to it right now, Sami's a lost cause. And I like Sami. But when it comes down to it, what did they do? Nothing. They haven't set him up as an arc for redemption. They haven't sent him just to get revenge or just to destroy the ones that were in his face before that led him nowhere. Because remember, he became champ, but then he was destroyed. And for him to really feel like he means something, he's going to wipe the slate clean. So he has to destroy Eddie Edwards. He has to destroy OVE and then get his title back from Tessa. And he did none of that before the pandemic. So now you got nothing for him. He's a waste. I'm sorry. Even if he signed off on this and he said, I'm fine with it, it's wrong that they did all this. If this was done, at least this had to be done months ahead of time. What they did with him. He came back in February, nearing February into March. They never had a plan for him to come back to Tessa immediately. None of it. And I'm not saying they didn't consider it, but they weren't going to do it now. A waste. Now, I know people are going to say, well, maybe it's because you had a long plan where you had to keep losing. Come on. There's a point how far you're going to go. And with Ken Shamrock, of all people, to lose to. And if you say he didn't lose, he passed out, it's the same as losing. Particularly that he just lost to Elgin. What is he going to do now? What? Nothing. But this is just my point of view. You guys tell me below. Have a good day. Oh, almost forgot. I did not realize that last week, because like I said in the beginning of this video, I was not myself. There is an NWA superpower review that I'm going to be doing. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it tomorrow, because I'm going to see if I can go to my doctor. It's just counting on the situation at the office. I don't know if there's going to be any type of doctor there, like they have appointments, so I have to check. It'll be tomorrow or Thursday I'll do the superpower review. But watch for it. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.